G'day folks and welcome to a final update today from Oz Cyclone Chasers on Tropical Cyclone Stan. This update is thanks to our major sponsor Campbell Scientific Australia, when measurements matter, and my name is Chris Nitto. At approximately 2 a.m. this morning, Tropical Cyclone Stan made landfall just to the east of Pardue, and you can see his track up here on our WA Weather Centre. Started moving in a southerly to south-southwesterly direction, stalled. This is the big killer for Tropical Cyclone Stan, because he stopped moving in this southerly direction and he took his time before he figured out which way he wanted to go. It allowed the really nice conditions here, or it created the really nice conditions here that the system was about to encounter, eventually disappeared and vanished, and we ended up getting a situation where we had easterly wind shear all the way through to the surface, and because of that, all the way through to landfall, and because of that, Tropical Cyclone Stan never realised his full potential. But it was this stall here, while he was making up his mind which way he wanted to go, that models didn't really predict, and the system was expected to continue to track in either a southerly towards Port Hedland or a south-southeasterly towards Pardue direction, but it wasn't expected to stall. And the fact that it stalled for about 6 to 12 hours really meant that that really small window it had to intensify here as it approached the coast closed on it. End result, we had a Category 2 system that pushed through the Pardue area. We now have a system that is moving inland at a great rate of knots. It's really started to accelerate as it pushes to the south-southeast. By tomorrow, we're expecting it to be somewhere between the WA and South Australian border. Because it's moving so rapidly, the system will produce very heavy rainfall, but only for a very short period throughout its future track. And the system is now a ex-tropical cyclone, so it's dropped back to a low pressure system, but just bear in mind that it still packs a fair amount of punch to its east. So in terms of wind strengths, if you are east of the system, you're going to see a lot more wind than you will if you are west of the system as it tracks through this largely uninhabited area, or sparsely inhabited, I won't say uninhabited, sparsely inhabited area in the interior of WA. As the system made landfall, or just before, Mandorah to the system's northeast did receive some wind gusts up to around about 40 knots with sustained winds at 25 to 30 knots for a few hours as it made landfall here between sort of midnight and around about 3 a.m. or 4 a.m. in the morning. Unfortunately, Pardue Station only reports once a day at 9 a.m. in the morning, and we can see there at 9 a.m. in the morning things were still pretty gusty. They had a sustained wind speed of about 32 knots, so things definitely would have got wild and woolly there overnight, and I'm hoping that eventually the data that they did receive, so while they only post at 9 o'clock, they do actually measure, they do have an automatic measuring station there, and they can supply the Bureau with all the correct data in terms of maximum wind speeds and pressure. It just doesn't happen live like some other stations. But look, we can see there that they cop 57 millimeters of rain as well, which is always handy for that area. Port Hedland, folks, as expected, the worst for you guys is actually right now, and we're getting wind speeds gusting up to about 35 to 40 knots across Hedland at the moment. Look, that will start to weaken as we get through to about 6-7 p.m. tonight. Things will start to moderate, but as expected, folks, as we mentioned now for the last couple of days, it was once the system crossed the coast that you were going to see the worst of the winds, and that's exactly what's happening, but no rain, unfortunately, and really only 11 millimeters out of this system is pretty poor. Still packing a pretty punch inland. This is Telfer. Now, Telfer's a long way to the east of the actual circulation centre, and you can see that they're still gusting up to about 30 to 35 knots there at the moment, so it definitely does pack a punch a long way further inland. And as I said, this isn't directly east of the circulation. These guys are a couple of hundred k's away, as opposed to a couple of hundred k's to the west. This is Newman, and we can see that they're only receiving fairly light southerly winds. Outside of Pardue, the only other place that's received some extreme winds from this system was the area around the Rowley Shoals out there in the ocean. Now we've got data that comes in from there through the Bureau of Meteorology there, and we can see maximum wind speeds there getting up to around 120 kilometres an hour. This is while the system was still well and truly away from WA's coastline and still trying to intensify. So we saw a significant period there, 120 k's up to 133 k's there, but we saw a significant period of winds getting right up there. So we had wind gusts over 100 kilometres starting at around about 12:30 in the morning, and then they abated back below 100 at around about 11:30 in the morning. So you're talking almost 12 hours worth of solid gales into damaging and destructive winds. So this could have been a lot better than it was in terms of the structure, in terms of the wind speeds that it could have produced. But that stall really killed it, or at least killed any chance of that happening. Alrighty, cyclone outlooks from the Bureau for the Northern Territory. The monsoon has redeveloped over the Northern Territory, and no lows are expected to form. No strong lows, at least, are expected to form in the next 3 days. There might be little weak circulations, little weak eddies that form along that monsoon trough, but none of those are expected to intensify at this point. Nothing across Queensland either, but there will be an interesting southeasterly change pushing up through Queensland, which will create a couple of little weak lows along it, and those little weak lows may enhance the rainfall and weather associated with them to their south and southwest. And you can bet your bottom dollar that we'll be talking about that on Tuesday's video update. Now this Tuesday will be our last future Aussie Cyclones video update for the public for a Tuesday night. Tuesdays are becoming very busy for me, so we're moving that update to a Thursday. So this week we'll have an update on Tuesday and an update on Thursday to the public, and then next week it'll only be Thursday from then on. Alright, so that's the transition. I just thought I'd let you know now so people don't go, oh, where's the update? Alright, so as we move on to tomorrow's rainfall, you can see moderate to heavy falls developing and pushing southeastwards with ex-tropical cyclone Stan. You can see the monsoon trough reorganising up here in the north, not very strong, so we're only seeing moderate falls of rain along the coast and into the Gulf of Carpentaria and the Western Peninsula. Still showers and thunderstorms associated with troughing across Queensland. On Tuesday, we have the trough pushes inland a little, so we have a bit of a clearance here, particularly around the central coast of Queensland. Still isolated to scattered showers and thunderstorms in a wide area across Queensland, but rainfall totals not expected to be overly significant from it. However, as you know, once you get under one of those storms, they can produce a fair amount of rainfall. You can still see the monsoon trough all up here in the north, trying to get itself together, but nothing really driving it at the moment, so it's only remaining quite weak. And enhanced shower and thunderstorm areas here over the Roper MacArthur district and the eastern half of the Northern Territory, as well as the southern Gulf country. As we move on to Wednesday, we can see Queensland starting to get very active. There's a southeasterly change beginning to push up the coast. That southeasterly change, the northwesterly winds don't want to go. They don't want to leave and let the southeasterlies take control. So what's happening here is a bit of a battle zone between the southeasterlies and the northwesterlies. And bang, where that battle zone happens, we see moderate to heavy rainfall, possibly some possible flood falls in there, or at least flash flood falls in there. So don't be surprised if we do see some very heavy rainfall over a short period of time. Now that happens just to the north of the southeast corner at this stage, around the Harvey Bay, Wide Bay Burnett region at this point in time. But that could change. The battle zone here will chop and change as computer models get a little bit clearer on that. Now we can see there's still a trough system extending to the northwest here, but we're actually seeing a lot more thunderstorm activity here on Wednesday along and east of that trough system. Also a slight increase in shower and thunderstorm activity, and a little bit more chance of that activity making it to the coast on Wednesday. Across the Northern Territory, we're continuing to see isolated showers and thunderstorms scattered at times, and still a very, very weak monsoon in play. On Thursday, the battle zone starts to push a little bit further north. The possibility here of a couple of lows spinning up, one off the coast of the Whitsundays, another one further east, along a trough line that's moving northwards as well. Now, as that trough line moves northwards, so too will the heavy rain. The heavy rain extending northwards now to the Capricornia region, possibly the Central Coast and Whitsundays region, and even possibly the Herbert-Lybertican region. There's a lot of disagreement here in the models as we go to Thursday as to where that battle zone is going to be. So, therefore, therefore we have areas and pockets of moderate to heavy falls all over the shop because they just don't know what to do with it. That extends also then further to the north and west. And we see scattered showers and thunderstorms along the trough line all the way through to the Gulf and the northwest parts of Queensland. Also scattered showers and thunderstorms across the northern half of the territory. We see a clearance across most of the Kimberley, and in the wake of Tropical Cyclone Stan, absolutely nothing going on in WA. So that is the future, the next 4 days, folks. Now, as I say, there's a lot of disagreement there as we get to days 3 and 4 as to where this little battle zone in Queensland is going to be, how strong this little low that's going to form is going to be, and exactly where that little low is going to be. Will it be down here around Rocky? Will it be up here around between Townsville and Cairns? Who knows? No one knows. So stick with us on Tuesday. We should know by then. The next 4 days after that, you can see it all depends on where that battle zone lies. But at this stage, it's this central part of Queensland, the central coast of Queensland, that looks like it's going to cop a shellacking of rainfall. And also, it also looks like the monsoon trough might start to just get a little bit of a kick in the next, towards sort of days 6 to days 10. And we'll keep an eye on that as well. That's all I've got time for today, folks. Thanks for joining us in the coverage of Stan, and we'll talk to you again Tuesday night this week, Thursday night this week, and then Thursday night after that.